RNG. Wow, that's a lot of Porthoses. I've just realised that I forgot to go and get my water cup, so I'll be right back. As well. Sorry, I had to go and get myself a drink and some water so I can paint. Oh. Does everything sound okay? Decent music? Not too loud, not too quiet. Am I too loud or too quiet? It's always fun when you set up changes in the middle of a broadband outage. Soundy. Fabulous. Okay. I'm gonna test out some of my shiny new Stream Deck buttons. Oh good, it works. So... getting my reference image up. Porthos, stop eating things off the floor. Sweetie, you are going to be sick. And you've just had your tea. It's not like you need to eat things off the floor. You've had more food today than I have. Yes. Hey, Kian, how you doing, friend? My reference image. It's time to get this party started. Hope everybody's as excited as I am. Oh dear. Come on, camera. Wakey. Porthos, have you stepped on the button again? Nope, there we go. Wine and cake titters. Slightly jealous. Hey Seamus, how you doing, friend? Okay, let's see if we can adjust the brightness on this bad boy a little bit. How's that for everybody? Ooh, blackcurrant Victoria sponge. That sounds lush, mate. I'm a little jealous. Well, no, I'm a lot jealous. Looks good. Good. Okay, so first off, welcome to shiny new Boom On Professional Hobby Cam, in which you should actually be able to see my fucking miniatures from now on. Whoop, whoop. This is probably gonna end in tears, because let's face it, these things usually do. But let's try anyway. It's back to front. I'll fix that later. That's actually worked quite well. So this is the colour scheme I'm going for on this little fella. It is not my choice. If it had been my choice, I probably would have chosen something simpler, because I have never ever done digital camo before, and there's a certain amount of genetic pressure to make sure I get this right, because that is the digital camo colours for a Ukrainian Sukhoi, and for those that don't know, I am a quarter Ukrainian. Yeah, what better way to learn than with somebody else's model? Exactly. This is all trial and error with me. But hopefully it'll come out quite nice. I have got to get used to where to hold things now that I've got the camera like over my shoulder. So this RNG is part of a commission for Crazy Ivan. So he's commissioned me to build and paint his entire Ariadna squad. Oh god, Porthos, why? Okay, Porthos has just gone under the hobby desk, farted at my feet, and then walked away. And that's pretty heckin' acrid, buddy. You need to stop eating out of my compost bin, mate. It's not food. And it's making you smell bad. Okay, I have no idea what half of that chat was, and I'm just gonna have to scroll and check. Tape a laser pointer to the camera. I could do that. I am not giving the dog treats or scritches for that, because that was disgusting and it hurt my nose. Hello there, Oddities Collector. Thank you for joining. Right. Sorry, the one problem I have with my new setup is that the chat box is really small. Yeah, Tidders, that's fair. Okay, so. The best thing about this being on a boom arm is that I can just raise it if I need to. And I can just twist it if I need to. Ta-da! Dogs are great. They're worth the olfactory suffering. It's so nice having a boom arm. I wish I'd done this sooner. I've properly fucking MacGyvered it to the hobby desk, because the hobby desk is not designed for this, but it works. That's all that matters. It works. Okay, so for those of you that have seen my hobby streams before, you'll be used to this by now, but I'm going to be getting my favourite brush out again, and I'm sorry, it's back to front for now, but there's my baby, the Psycho. Tell you what, I'm going to hopefully quickly, fix that, that back to frontedness. Hopefully quickly. Maybe not quickly. Properties. Hey Graf, how you doing, friend? Yeah, Oddities. My cam setup has completely changed, and it's because I've got the boom arm now, and it's well, it's caused some, amusingly enough, oddities. No, that does not fix the problem. You'd think it'd be really easy to do, and yet I can't find it. Is it in here? No. Stand on your heads. Put a physical mirror in front of the camera. I'm loving the suggestions here, folks. Loving the suggestions. Oh, I found it. Here we go. Ta-da! And now, as if by magic, everything is the right way around. Right, let's try and centralise this a little more. It's going to get weird for a moment, folks. It's going to get very weird. You know the only problem with MacGyvering something? Only works in a very specific way. That should do, I think. Yeah, that'll be alright, won't it? Change is different. Hey, Buff Grinch, how you doing, friend? Come on, camera. Ah, well, it'll do. Okay, so let's try that again. I'll be using the Psycho today. Cat attempting to steal your food. Oh no. You tell that cat no. Bad kitty. But I will also be using a slightly larger brush for some bits. I've just got to find it in my pot o' brushes. Yeah, I think I'll use the detail brush. So, I've already base coated the bits that are going to have digital camo on. As you can see, I did that whilst I was in internet isolation the other week. I was almost tempted to just sit in this room by myself and just talk into the microphone while it's not recording, because I missed you lot so much. But that would have been a little weird, right? Oh, I need to put some more paper on my wet palette as well before I continue. I can remember where I left my wet palette paper. What could possibly go wrong? Ah, there it is. For those that are new here, I am a lazy git and did not make my own wet palette like you can. I know Blood Medusa has recently made her own wet palette. Purple Burb, who sometimes pops in on our streams, has made their own wet palette as well. It is relatively easy to do. I'm just really lazy. So I use the Redgrass Everlasting wet palette, and it comes with hydration paper. A wet palette, Rockethead, also hello, how you doing, is a paint palette that's designed to keep your acrylic paints wet, so that if you're painting something over a prolonged period of time, you can basically keep using the same paint. You don't end up wasting a load of paint. Moist sheets. Yes, exactly. Really, I should have done this before stream, but I was fucking about with the background music instead, because I'm horribly disorganised and I finished work late again. But what you can see me doing in the corner of the screen right now is just pressing a new hydration sheet onto what is essentially a piece of florist's foam, I think, which is already very, very damp. So you put the bit of paper over the top, and I think it's like greaseproof paper, like, you know, baking paper. I think it's just that, really. Make sure there's no creases in it, or as few creases as possible, because again, lazy. Flatten it down. So it should be nicely moistened. And then once you've done that, you can basically stick paint on it, put the lid back on if you're done with the paint for a bit, and it'll stay moist for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, sometimes longer if you're really lucky, though. I've found that the Citadel paints especially, just like the second they come into contact with the outside world, they start to dry up. But I'm using Army Painter paints today for the most part, and a couple of Vallejo as well, I think. Yeah, the only Citadel paint I've got on the table for today is Fenrisian Grey, which is my base coat, which is what this is. So I won't be using any of that for a bit. Right, so with that procrastination out of the way, I suppose I should get on with having a go at this digital camo. Okay, oddities, what's the question? My chat has gone bibbledy. Like, really bibbledy? Wow, okay. It's trying to reply to something. Hang on. I am still here, I promise. Okay. What one tastes the worst when you have accidentally put the brush in your mouth? Okay, that's actually very, very easy. I can tell you with some degree of certainty that you should never ever put Green Stuff World Matte Surface Primer in black in your mouth. It is bloody disgusting. It tastes worse. It tastes worse than any of Citadel's base coats. Any of them. It tastes worse than the Citadel washes. In fact, it tastes worse than a Citadel wash mixed with a Citadel base. Never put that primer in your mouth. Even worse than contrast paint, Kian. It is the most disgusting paint I have ever accidentally put in my mouth. Oh, I've never accidentally put textured paint in my mouth, so right. So we're gonna start with the darker bits of the Sequoia, I think. Actually, no. We're going to start with the medium blue. So, just to reiterate, this is what I'm doing, or what I'm going to try and do. Usually this effect is only really achieved with stencils and an airbrush, neither of which I have. Oh, that's a bit dribbly. I'm gonna give it a shake. Oh. Yeah, and I've never ever done a camo pattern on anything before, so this is through the looking glass for me, folks, in a really serious kind of way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Vallejo's... Are we on camera? Yeah, we are. Vallejo's model colour in Deep Sky Blue to do the lighter blue, and then I'm gonna paint over some of the lighter blue bits with the darker blue, which is Game Colour Azul Magico Magic Blue, which is also a Vallejo paint. Vallejo paints are actually pretty watered down already. One of the things that you tend to find is that Citadel are one of the thicker hobby paints that you can get. Everyone else seems to just water their paints down anyway. So you don't need to water this down quite so much as you would a Citadel paint. But I like to try and go thin anyway. With a colour like this, it's going to be really problematic because it'll go on really weird to begin with. Thank you, Buff Grinch. Yeah, so the thing that's making me nervous about this is that it's clean lines. It's not like your normal camo. It's square blocks. So this is either going to work really well or really badly. And all I'm going to do is, and hopefully you can see this without too much trouble. I know it's a little difficult because it's blue on blue-grey, but I'm just going to do some little areas, I think. Actually, no, I'm just going to do this whole panel in this light blue, and then we're going to pick out bits to be grey, because on the Sequoia picture that I'm using as my reference, the nose cone is this lovely sort of Fenrisian grey colour, which is why I've chosen that as a base. But really we want a lot of it to be this nice sky blue. And what I'd like to do once I've got the camo on is to actually go over a couple of bits, probably around the feet, and try and make it look like this is a well-used Armata. It's been through the wars a little bit, and the paintwork around its base is starting to sort of pucker and rust. A bit like an old car that's not, you know, been looked after particularly well. I've just realised that my alert box is completely fucked on this stream because I haven't had the chance to get in here and build everything up and test it since the dark times when the internet broke. And I couldn't test any of that while the internet was down. So I'm really, really sorry in advance to anybody that subscribes or follows or donates today. Or cheers, for that matter, because I've only just noticed that it's not actually showing up, which means it's not going to fucking work. Fabulous. My experience with old cars, it'll be 100% rust from the seat mounts down. Yeah, probably. How are the residents of House Squig? Yeah, we're doing okay. Slow would have actually joined me today for this stream, but one, he's not prepped anything yet, and two, when I went upstairs to say hi to him after I finished work, he was deep in a writing hole, and I am very excited to see what he's been writing. Hey, Cyborg, how you doing, friend? Cyborg, is that the new Spum line of paints? Well, from what I've read of what he's done so far, Tidders, it's really good. It's been a long time since he's done any writing, and I think this is, like, I think he's doing, like, an actual fiction writing project of some description. And he got me to read a little bit of it when he started writing it, because he was feeling like something was off about it, and I was just like, no, this is amazing. How have you been out of the game for this long, and you're coming up with this when I struggle to write a fucking podcast script? Speaking of which, I really need to get on with recording, because I'm due to release a new podcast episode at the end of the month, and I ain't done it yet. Slow got you into Gundam. I am glad to hear it, Nurgling. Gundam is really, really good. I mean, it has its hiccups, shall we say. There's a couple of Gundam shows that I will not watch. They are terror-bad. But for the most part, Gundam as a series is actually very, very good. It's quite nuanced. It discusses very interesting concepts in a very good way. I'm a big fan, particularly of 8th MS Team, which I'm sure Slow will have told you about, because that's one of his favourites. And Gundam Unicorn. Love Gundam Unicorn. I mean, mostly because pretty fighting robots in space, but also it's got a really good story. And the characters aren't shit. Oh, yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to the way in which I'm painting this. I'm just going wherever my brush tells me to. I kind of liken this to, this entire stream, to me wishing I was Bob Ross and just doing the thing that I do. I am very... just give it a punt. I mean, personally, I prefer to just give it a punt on my own miniatures rather than somebody else's, especially when they're paying for the privilege of me painting them. Yeesh, how did I get into this place in my life? But those of you that saw my first attempt at OSL on stream know that I am very much of the opinion that you can't learn how to do something if you don't try to do it. And it's fun to share these things with people. Like, by all means, keep your secrets, but if somebody else can learn from what you do and can improve, and they can come into the hobby in a new way because you've been willing to share something you learned, something that they were maybe too afraid to try, then you should do that. Share the love. Oh, I would love a turquoise afro. Hey Grox, how you doing, friend? Cyborg, Big O is fucking awesome, and I agree with you, Gurren Lagann is slightly better. This is a mech fan household. we actually nearly re-watched Big O, because we got it on DVD while the internet was out. But we ended up re-watching Heat Go J instead. Which is way better than it has any right to be. Got to admit. Not a bad little show, that. What's a DVD, you child? Transformers, yes. Anyone that was on the long stream the other night knows that Slow convinced me to buy very expensive Transformers wall art for the walls that are already covered in wall art. Slow is a much bigger Transformers fan than I am. I got into them relatively late in the grand scheme of things. But I still really like Transformers. Oh, okay. I'll let you off then, Tidders. I have not watched Darling in the Franxx because it looked shit. And yes, we have Big O on DVD. Slow bought it at a convention before we got together, I think. And because we live together now and we're going to get married at some point, it's now mine. Yeah, between us, we've got some interesting shit on DVD. Thanks, Seamus. We've been engaged for 6 years now. We just never. It's expensive, and frankly, we'd rather own a 3D printer than a piece of paper that says that we can share the same surname. Exactly, ownership via assimilation. Are we adorable? I think we told the day we got engaged story on our anniversary stream when we tried to play Halo together and couldn't because Halo had a bug in it at that point in time that meant you couldn't do co-op on the original, which they fixed like 3 fucking days later. I was so annoyed. Okay, Ted, as if you say so. Could always 3D print a model of the piece of paper. Yes, but it would not be legally binding. What I do want to do, though, is now that we've got a 3D printer, when we do actually tie the knot, I wanted to have special cake toppers that I was going to get specially 3D printed, but now I can do it myself. We were going to get... I don't think Slow actually knows this, so I hope he's not like covertly watching the stream while he's working. But I was going to design and print as 2 Tachikoma from Ghost in the Shell. One with a little top hat and one with a little bouquet and a little veil. Because Ghost in the Shell is another thing that we are very much into. Oh, Seamus, that'd be adorable. Would someone be so kind as to present Tidders with a picture of a Tachikoma? Pretty please. Thank you, Cyborg. That's really cool, Cyborg. Oh, I got some on the joint. Beautiful. Thank you very much, Respot. Oh, I did it again. I are clumsy. Have been having some problems with my hands today, to be fair. Aren't they adorable titters? I mean, personally, I prefer the uchikama, which are like the tachikama's bigger, chunkier cousins, and they are adorable. And they have a cute little theme song that involves them pretending to be like Japanese gang youths, and I am there for that. So cute. Oh, titters. I'm sorry to hear that, friend. If Cyborg was a comma, what kind of comma would they be? A beardy comma? I think you might just be an AI tank cyborg. Too much paint on my brush then. Tut tut. I've had that problem while we've been in lockdown, titters. I think because my routine's changed and because my diet's changed a bit, my body's kicking back in any way it can. So hopefully it's just something like that. Last anime I watched was Goblin Slayer, so see cute robots is a bit... Yeah, fair enough. I, for the record, absolutely love Goblin Slayer. I know it's a controversial thing to say, but I have a particular fondness for the main character. I really like him, and there was a brief period of time where I was intending to play basically Goblin Slayer in D&D, and then I found out that Slow wanted to play a goblin, and I thought that would probably be a bad idea. It could be, titters. So many things it could be, unfortunately. Speaking of so many things it could be, I've been having a problem with my right knee for like 6 months now, and my doctor has sent me for an x-ray, so I'm going to the hospital tomorrow to have an x-ray. So wish me luck, folks. Hopefully it's nothing serious. Like, I could really do with not having any more problems, you know? The doctor thinks I have arthritis in my knee. Break a leg. It works. Heck, maybe that'll fix the problem. I'm not going to be too stressy about if I get paint on the base, because I'm going to do some fun things with the base when the mini's done anyway, so nobody will see the paint. Can't get knee problems if you don't have knees. Well, quite. I'm still holding out for that cybernetic body. Unfortunately, our 3D printer is not the kind that can print body parts. I'm only a little disappointed. Hey, that could work, Tidders. I'm fine with that. Living vicariously through other people's game character versions of me is basically how I've got this far in life. Hey, Purple Burb. How you doing, friend? Okay, we're getting to that point now where I've pretty much covered everything. I think what I might do is leave the head ? Never really can tell with mechs, can you? The thing that is in the space, which is usually occupied by a head, I might leave that grey, because it's basically the equivalent of a nose cone, right? And I think that could look fun. Meat feet bad, metal feet good. Yes! The flesh is weak. Heads are definitely nose cones, it's where our sensor arrays are. Good, I'll leave it grey then. I'm just gonna take a look at my component parts for a moment, because that's a really unfortunate place to have a hole. Apparently it's where this bit goes. So, don't need to stress too much about painting that either. Oh, and I'm sorry for the scratchy voice, by the way. I ended up doing 30 voice line tweets over the course of yesterday. So, thanks for liking my voice, I guess. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it. It feels like it sounds scratchy, and it sounds scratchy to me, and it's making me a bit... That's a technical term. Those of you that took me up on my stupid fucking offer, by the way, I hope you all liked your dramatic readings. Oh, Tidders. Having a rough day with your voice, friend. Do I need to send you like a care package of Strepsils? Yeah, RNG. I put up a tweet that was basically, if you like this, I will read one of your tweets out loud. Thinking that it would get maybe 1 or 2 likes, which is what normally happens when I post shit like that on my Twitter. And it kind of escalated in the middle of the day while I was at work, and then... Yeah, it kind of got a bit out of control, and I'm blaming Longfang because he said, "You're gonna be busy today," and then I got like 20 more likes on it, so I think he did something. Also, I'm just really bitter that it backfired so badly. Yeah, I know, Ruspart. I mean, I didn't ask for it. It was very definitely a scream into the void, and the void decided to scream back. I brought it upon myself. I tempted fate, and the Lord of Change decided to put me in my fucking place. Oh, as you can see, I've not bothered to paint some little bits. Most of this stuff is stuff that I suspect would be not decorated, shall we say. Ventilation, hydraulics, that kind of shit. The stuff that there is no point in putting paint on because it will just come straight the fuck off. Yeah, Tidders, that is exactly what happened. If you embrace change, you've got to embrace it all. Thank you very much for the treats and or scritches, Buff Grinch. I will add that to the growing pile for when the stream is over, because Porthos has gone to sulk in a different room because I'm not paying him any attention right now. And because I told him off for eating out of the compost bin. Okie doke, Rustbot. So, how's everyone doing today? One stroke for the model, one for both of us. No, he's in a different room, I can't. He drive-by'd me and then fucked off. Though I might check on him and make sure he doesn't need to go out in a bit. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Bab. What kind of art are you doing? I'm glad you're having fun with Pro Skater 2. I am insanely jealous. I really want to get it. But it's going to have to wait until I get paid next month, I think. And I'm glad to hear it, Nurgling. Yeah, my day's been good. I have somehow managed to really impress my boss by presenting a business case on something, and he was just like, wow. I think he's trying to get a grip on like what my what skills I have in my tool belt, and every time he thinks he's figured it out, I surprise him with something else. Oh, that's awesome, Tidders! Oh, I'm glad to hear it, Kian. We took Porthos for a walk this morning. I couldn't do it yesterday because, frankly, I don't have the confidence to go outside on my own anymore. Because I literally hadn't left the house in 6 months at all. I'd not been anywhere since everything happened, shall we say. And I woke up yesterday and Slow was fast asleep and I didn't want to disturb him. And I was like, I need to walk the dog. I can't go outside. I need somebody with me so I can go outside. So poor Puppa didn't get a walk yesterday. And he spent the entire day reminding me of that fact. But Slow and I got up and took him for a walk this morning, and he loved every minute of it. First time back on the park. Oh yeah, my boss is lovely, Nurgling. He's really understanding and is willing to just let me get on with things and try and figure out what I'm doing. And he lets me take credit for the things that I have done rather than taking credit for them himself. It's nice. It's nice. It's nice to be in a supportive environment. And he's teaching me all the stuff I need to learn to like become best InfoSec bunny. Oh yeah, for those that didn't know already, I work in InfoSec. I'm one of those boring people that tells you that you signed the policy that says your password has to be at least 8 characters long, and contain at least 1 capital letter and 1 special character. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Nurgling. I wish there was, like, some sort of blacklist function for asshole bosses. Okay, a blacklist for asshole bosses that won't get you put in prison, tidders. Okay, that's probably going to end up being silver at some point, but whatever. I am glad that I put the Fenrisian Grey on, even though I'm covering it all up, because I think it's made the blue stand out much nicer than it would have done on just the plain black. It's given it a nice light base to work from, so it's like a proper sky blue instead of murky. Forgot to wipe my brush off again. Bad squig. Stealthy murder. Oh, we playing Hitman now? Framing them for a heinous crime. I'm sure they've probably committed a heinous crime and are just hiding it well. Yeah, that does not surprise me, Nurgling. Oddities, that's true. I only use my degree in how not to get caught for good, so we'll leave that one there. I'll let you make your own mind up about that. Oh, must crack spine. Sorry if you hear it on stream. Oh, oh yeah. Done for victimizing. That's good that, you know, he was actually done for it. A lot of people that do that get away with it. In fact, for anyone who is in a working environment that's listening to this, do yourself a favour. Join a union. It doesn't matter if you need them right now, or if you need them never. Join a union. A union is only as strong as its membership. And just because you don't need it doesn't mean somebody else won't. Prime example, my previous employer is currently making most of their staff redundant. And if they don't make them redundant, they're trying to change their contracts in ways that are frankly appalling. But most of them, because they'd never needed a union, weren't part of the union, and as a result are unable to get any help now because the union is too busy trying to fix the problem. It's always worth having them on your side, just in case. Whether it be for you, or whether it end up being for someone else. And yeah, it's a hit to your paycheck, but trust me, if you do ever need it, it's fucking worth it. Sorry, I don't think you'll be able to see what I'm doing right now, but this is a really fiddly bit. So, I'm just gonna... What time have we got? Oh my god, it's 6:57. And I haven't even got the first layer done. Ugh. I think me and Slow need to swap handles. I am clearly the slowest painter. I guess what I'll do is I'll do the last little bits of this layer, because it's nearly done to be fair, and we'll get a little bit of the blue on and see how that goes, and then I'll call it so that we can raid the long stream, because I'm pretty sure that Longfang's streaming tonight. Well, I suppose when we get married I will be Tidders, the slow squig. Or will he be the slow squig? Took me a week to paint knobs. How many knobs, Nagling? So I'm just going to really lazily paint this foot, because like I said before, I'm going to do some stuff with the feet to make them look a little bit more tattered anyway. So I kind of don't want all of the paint to be nice on both feet. I kind of want it to be a little bit scruffy. Can both be slow squig. That won't be confusing at all, oddities. Slow, slow. Oh dear, no. I don't think I can cope with that. We've kind of already agreed that he's going to be the hubby squig. The Slows family of House Squig. That works. Okay, we're nearly there. Nearly there. I just really want to get some of the dark blue on before I stop. The hobby estate. Oh yes, the hobby estate. Ah, fancy. Hobbyland. Is that my theme park? That works, oddities. Right. So, oh, I missed an arm. Shame on me. That's actually gone on quite nice, hasn't it? A little bit thicker in some places than in others, but I don't think that's going to be a major issue. Right. So, I'm actually just going to do this leg panel here, and then we'll call it a day. Hey, titters. Welcome back. First off, give it a check. Check it, check. We've had these paints for so long and they're still perfectly fine. Oh yeah, you will have probably already noticed all the Citadel bottles in the background are in-dropper bottles. We kind of have a rule against keeping them in these pots, because these pots are not good for not good for the well-being of your paint, basically. Right, so because we're getting on to what I would consider detail work, I'm using the Psycho now, and I know you can't, hang on, there we go. So I've watered this down a little bit. I'm going to water it down some more actually before I get any further. There we go. And I'm unloading the brush. Tiny bit extra on there. Right. Let's see if I can do a straight line. They promote shortevity. Yeah, they fucking do. Okay. Little too much water, so I'm going to take some of the paint I didn't water down. Just mix it in with the paint that I did. I'm going to tilt this towards the camera in the hopes that you can see it. Now, I know a lot of folks don't like the Psycho brush because it's tiny, and you hear a lot of complaints that the paint dries up before you can get it onto the miniature. And sometimes that is the case, for sure, but if you're careful and speedy and you water your paint down appropriately, it shouldn't be a major issue. Exactly, oddities. It's not about the size of the brush, it's how you use it. So what I'm trying to do, and maybe failing, we'll see, is to just get some straight lines, little squares, and we'll get a thin line as well, because there's some bits that are just like thin lines. But it tends to be like these blocks of a specific colour. I think that'll work nice, and then we'll do another one slightly further up over here. This one should actually be easier to see. So I'm not really following any kind of pattern, unfortunately. Hey, titters. You're perfect the way you are. You can be the size queen, I will be the psycho queen. How's that? And if anybody thought of responding to that with Qu'est-ce que c'est, massive digital hugs, thank you very much. Get a little bit more blue in that water. Because it's not going on as smoothly as I'd like. So my plan is I think you're perfect the way you are, Tidders, but it's not what I think that matters, it's what you think. You've got to be happy with yourself. When you're happy with yourself, anybody that feels that you need to change anything can fuck right off. Okay? Yes, Nurgling, Slow is making enchiladas.
I am cooking now because the light in the kitchen is broken.
Oh shit, yeah, so
I have to cook now, or we're not eating.
The strip light in the kitchen, which is the only source of light in the whole kitchen, blew yesterday evening, just after I'd finished cooking. And the light is starting to darken outside, which means that if Slow doesn't cook soon, we won't eat. Because dark. Okay, so yeah, my plan with this, as I was saying, is to basically put all of the dark blue on top of the light blue that I've just put on. And then I'll probably end up going over some of that with the white. And hopefully it won't look like a hot mess. Hopefully. But we won't know until, you know, till it happens. Also, hey there, Destroyer, how you doing, friend? I really hope this comes out okay. I want to do right by Ivan. Poor bastard is having a really rough time of it at the minute, and he's one of my best bros, so he's my battle brother from another mother, as it were, and I just want to do the right thing and, you know, have him be really happy with the finished product. I know he's paying for it, but I still want to make sure that it's nice. Oh, you've joined the dual-wielding monitor club, have you, Destroyer? It'll be impossible to return to a single monitor now. I don't know the history behind it. I think Ivan does. He knows all sorts of interesting things about the war, but he's a bit of a military buff. But the carrots thing, I think, was something to do with the war. Like, it's not true. I mean, I'm guessing you all knew that anyway, but it's some sort of vegetable-related propaganda. No oddities. I have an ultra-wide monitor now, and I still have to have 2 monitors, because I just can't cope without the second monitor. I'm so used to it. Oh, is that what it is, Tidders? Neat. This is really difficult. Like, I know it's not perfect. I can see it's not perfect. And it's bugging me that it's not. See if you can see it a bit better if I do this. That's a big old no. I think the hardest part about this is trying to get nice, straight, even lines with paint that essentially sort of bleeds as you're painting. Because you have to water it down, otherwise it goes on weird. I mean, this may end up being more like classic camo than digital camo, but we'll see. To be fair, I think it already has. How did I get the Citadel labels on the bottles? I'll tell you what, let me finish putting another layer on these bits of camo, and then I will show you before I end the stream. Hello, Porthos. I need to give you some scritches, mate. Your fan base is calling. Ah! Okay, the alert box does work. Though I have no idea what that was because it didn't appear on the screen for long enough for me to see. So thank you to whoever it was that just followed.
Genuine enthusiasm.
Okay, that did the same thing. Did anybody else see that? I heard it, but... Also, thank you for the treats, Destroyer. Oh dear. Yeah, Streamlabs must be shitting itself then, because that is the only bit of Streamlabs functionality left on my stream. Okay, I'll look into that later. Right, now that that bit of camo is done, let's see if I can show you folks what I did without it being horribly greyed out. So I know that the Genuine Enthusiasm is a subscription of some point, of some description, or is it a follow? Well, it's one of those things. I don't remember. But yeah, thank you Streamlabs for making it impossible for me to thank people for doing things on my stream today. Okay. Can folks see that? It's kind of hard to see because of it being basically blue on blue, but I'll try. There we go. For like 2 seconds it was in shot. There we go. So that's what I've done. It's a start, for definite. It's by no means perfect, but I think for my first attempt at the beginnings of digital camo, it'll fucking do, you know? It is really hard to see, Tidders, because like I said, it's blue on blue. Oh. Just adjust the light so you can see it a bit clearer. How's that? So that's the starting point. Now, Papa Burb, you asked me a question about getting the labels off of Citadel paints. I will show you how to do that with this Lamentus yellow glaze that happens to be on my side of the table. Basically, they're actually just stickers, and most of the time they're not actually stuck on all that well anyway. So what we do, once we've transferred it, we wouldn't normally do it when it's still full. Just go to the back of the sticker, and you can use a knife for this. Slow uses a knife because he doesn't have nails, but I just use my nails. Even if you've only got a little bit of nail, it usually works. But you just peel it. Unfurl it. Put your Lamented yellow somewhere. And drop a bottle. I mean, you wouldn't do this with a glaze, so I'm not actually going to stick it on, but you'd normally aim for about here on the bottle, and then just wrap it round. Let's put this bad boy back where it belongs. Yeah, you should only really transfer your shades and your paints into dropper bottles, from what I understand. Don't put your technicals or your glazes or your varnishes into them, because it's basically a waste of dropper bottles. Oh, did you, Destroyer? Did it work out okay? Why not paint it on? Because I'm not a masochist, oddities. Okay, he doesn't have long nails, Tidders. You, Oppenheimer, splitting the atom over there. Lamentus yellow glaze, the first glaze paint that became irrelevant. Right. Slow has just been in and tapped his wrist in a get off the fucking stream kind of way.
Like 5 minutes ago.
I'm sure you folks heard that. So, I think now is a good time to go to the ending soon stream. Okay, let's see what those notifications were, if it'll let me. Okay, according to Streamlabs, nothing happened this stream, so I have no fucking clue. If you, are a person who has followed me today, thank you very much for following. If you are a person who has subscribed or donated today, thank you very much for doing that also. Hey, it's my first one back. And we had no technical difficulties as far as I'm aware, which is nice. The closest thing we had to a technical difficulty was me forgetting to switch the camera back to, you know, not back to front mode. So, as always, massive thank you to my mods for keeping everyone sweet. Thank you to everybody that's come along today. Thank you to my followers, my subscribers. Thank you to anyone that cheers or donates. Thank you for the people that redeem treats and scritches for Porthos. I want you to take care of yourselves. I want you to take care of each other. I want you to wash your fucking hands. And I want you to go and say hi to Long Fang for me. I'm gonna go and eat some enchiladas. Take care, folks.